Okay,
Let the ambulance go.
you're on.
That's a different story.
And before we get too far into the water budget, what's in the requested budget, since we didn't have any numbers for the new year, I basically put in the 2018 numbers. I did change one or two of them based on what we had spent in certain codes. And just looking down, those of you who were here the other morning got a 2019 water budget. Just looking at it, there's two numbers on the 8330.4 contractual that I believe are not calculated correct. And one is the number 5 item, the polymer. My calculation of 9,000 gallons at $5 a gallon is not 4,500 or 45,000. And the fuel oil at $3 a gallon for 3,500 is not 7,000, it's 10.5, I believe.
What number is that? Oh, I see 7, never mind.
Yeah, Numbers 5 and number 7 on the 8330.4 contractual. So depending on what we decide tonight, which of these numbers we use, we will come up with a water budget. One other number is going to change, and that has nothing to do with the water department, but in the requested budget, on page 16, the bond anticipation note interest, we renewed that BAN beginning of March, and the new interest rate on the renewal is gone up significantly to 3.45%. So the 6,000 that I had used has got to be $10,350. Alright, so that I know is going to go up by the 10,350. So it's going to go up 4,350. And that's a sign of the times. Interest rates are all going up. We don't have a lot of control over it. Keep in mind that we have a bond resolution in the sewer fund that we can borrow some $2 million. We're going to have to take advice from bonding people for whether we, how we do the borrowing for that. Hopefully we'll get EFC grant money or EFC low interest loans, but that's not here nor there tonight. Other than what I just mentioned, there is differences in the requested budget. I feel comfortable with the salary numbers based on the change in personnel at the department, and I've included Jack, a full-time laborer, and a part-timer in the salary calculations.
The part-timer at what rate?
I used $20 an hour. Again, it was just a number that we used for that. Is it correct? We don't know.
Well, we can correct it a little bit without you doing
Well,
calculations.
and I've already taken the calculation and added something to it.
Okay.
So there's a little.
So we're gonna have Jack.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a full-time water assistant. We know his salary is $16 an hour. And then we're gonna hire a part-time, as of tonight, we're hiring a part-time 2A license, which the law requires as a part-time. Could you put in 20? It could be very high 20s,
Yeah.
like
Again,
29, just for information.
You know, I calculated without the overtime, total just salaries at 140 in the, what I put in the budget, and it's coming out to be 120. So there's a $20,000 cushion because we don't know what these salaries might be.
Okay.
We might know before we have to adopt, but right now, there's not. And the only other comment, and then you can grill Jack. Next Monday evening is the final workshop before the tentative budget is presented to the board. The tentative budget will be presented on the regular meeting night of the 18th. So this coming Monday is basically a final discussion. Anybody who has any changes, please write them down. What code, increase or decrease, make life easier, because after that meeting, I gotta put together the tentative to turn in for Monday the 18th.
Did we, ask departments to, or no?
Yes,
We did, okay,
I asked for 7%.
okay, good.
Now, and the other is that the tentative budget, not the tentative, requested budget on the revenue side, the amount that's in for taxes is at the tax cap limit. We are under the tax cap, but there's no room to really increase it at all. We can decrease it and go under the cap, but right now we're at the cap.
Okay.
So,
Let me, you talked about Monday night, 6 o'clock, it'll be a nice meeting. We don't have to do department heads,
No.
although we might want someone here, that we can decide that. But anyway, it's a general discussion on ins and outs. I have some things, and everyone does. But let me say this, at 6 o'clock, so at 5:30, we'll interview Steve Douglas. Okay?
On Monday.
On Monday, instead of 5, we don't need to be here that early. At 5:30, we'll do Steve Douglas, it'll take 10 minutes, and then we can, whatever, and then we'll come up here and do our budget workshop.
if everybody's
So-
here, we can start as soon as you're done your
Yeah,
interview.
yes, we'll start as soon as we're done with the interview, and Jack, be here for the interview, okay? And then then leave, okay?
Okay, so,
How did you figure did you do any increases at all on chemicals?
Not really.
No, okay,
Pretty much the same.
all right.
basically, 25,000 for some new equipment,
Which is,
a soda ash machine, and to replace the front doors at the plant. Total of 15,000 for the machine and 10 for the doors.
what's wrong with the doors, Jack?
I took a picture. It's not good. The doors are coming apart. The metal doors.
Yeah.
The rain, when it blows in, it blows up right underneath it, so.
Okay.
That's been for some time now.
If we're gonna put, and I have a reason for saying this, and it's not directed at you, but if we're gonna put money in the budget for doors, buy the doors.
Oh, definitely.
Is that what they are, $10,000 for the doors?
I think that was for the whole thing when Kevin got a price at one time. That was the top window too, but I think you may be able to put the bottom section in. I think that was for the whole.
Are the windows leaking too?
No, the windows are fine. Like I said, I think we can do the bottom section.
Talk to Gina about purchasing.
Right.
All right, let's do it right. Quotes.
But, so, right now, that is not in the requested, under that code, the 8330.2, there's $1,000, so guess I'm gonna add 25,000 until we see where we come out. The other number that's a little bit off is the contractual under that same 8330.4. And that, with the revision of the two items that I mentioned, brings that total to 143,915. I put 141,6 in, so that's gonna have to go up a little bit. The budget that you have is 18, that's the 19 now. And those numbers are not in the requested.
I have these that we made up. There's like justification of some of the.
Yeah, that's this,
numbers.
that's included.
Oh, that's in that one? Okay.
Yeah, it's in all of theirs.
This is.
No, don't look at that, it's 18. This is where you're gonna be at that number, 143,915. Okay. So,
Can I ask you some questions, Jack?
Sure.
what's in the budget for hydrants?
Ah,
So what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is the physical hydrant itself. Do we have any in stock?
we have two.
Okay. We have, as I know it, you can increase this or decrease it with your knowledge. We have 4 to replace. I was told the dead end of Mearns. I was told Chestnut and Locust. Is that, yes?
Yep.
I was told Glen Road in Maine,
Yes, those are all old hydrants.
and I was told Villa Parkway and Cedar.
Yep.
Now, you say they're old. Remember, old still works, just because it's old, you know? But
Some-
are they broke?
Um,
Do they work tonight?
they work right now, yes. None of them are out of service.
Do we have any hydrants out of service?
No.
Okay. And we have 2 in stock, and what do they run?
He's got 2,600.
2,600.
$2,600 for a hydrant.
He's got 3 in,
And then installation.
Oh, he has 3 in?
In the
3
budget.
in.
Okay, all right, so 2 and 3 is 5, okay, good. Okay, that answers that question.
How about the one on South Street, is that workable? Does that work?
Yeah, they all work now.
But at one time it didn't, though, right?
It was out for a while, you guys
Yeah,
took care of that about
yeah.
a year and a half ago, I think.
Yeah, the
Okay,
stem
that's what I
was,
thought,
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you have in the budget, maybe it's under different categories for the Road Park pool?
I think that's under something different.
That's under the general fund, under parks, I believe.
Okay, because remember, a couple things. Whatever it is that we have to make sure, the board wants to make sure that this pool is open on time. So keep your eye on the calendar, keep your eye on the weather every year, because it's an older facility, you know, it needs repairs, I understand that. But we gotta make sure this all happens by the time they start opening it up part-time on weekends. Okay? And also remember, I don't know if you have in the budget, but the town, when was it, Gina? A few years ago, the town picks up some of the costs.
They pay for the chlorine now.
Okay, and who pays the electric?
That, I don't know.
I believe we do, and it's part of general fund parks 1710 code.
How much you have, is it easy to tell me how much we have in dollar amount for pool chemicals?
No, I don't have a breakdown that way, I just have a total.
Didn't Kevin repair, am I wrong? Did Kevin repair the pool
Surface,
fund?
the surface last
Okay.
summer.
He
He's
did
right.
that. Okay.
But you know, again, that's, you know, those kind of repairs can be yearly
Yeah.
repairs
Yes.
because
That's
that
what-
pool is.
That was a
Yeah.
patch, it was a Band-Aid, and
Exactly.
we were waiting on the
Yeah,
other
just to get-
funds to come in.
To get the water.
Have we
ready.
heard anything from DASNY about
No.
the availability?
So what my question is.
I'm sorry, I just want,
No,
we
go ahead.
haven't, correct me, we haven't even heard from New York, I wanna use my words, that we got the grant, let alone, go ahead and spend it.
I think we.
That's what I was just
Okay.
going to say, and the reason why.
But
This-
it goes through DASNY. so
We're
you
gonna have to
know when it
spend,
comes.
we're gonna have to spend the money and then get reimbursed.
See, what I'd like to do is David Faber.
That's 140.
Being he's working, I mean, you know, we take other people and ask them opinions. But David Faber now, Junior, is doing pool building and all of that. I don't know if it'd be worth it, because I know that pool last year, I went up there with Kevin, and it's getting in bad shape.
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely has to be resurfaced.
Yeah.
We can't do that. So
We
to
patch it
have
every
maybe
year.
somebody look at that and say, hey, listen, you know, and again, as Joe was saying, to be reimbursed on that, but that's sort of, that's a big one up at Road Park.
But I believe everything to do with the pool, maintenance, chemicals, is paid out of the general fund code. It has nothing to do with, while the water department has taken on doing some of the work, it's still, the costs get charged to the general fund.
What does the town put in? How much percentage does the town put in for that pool?
They pay for all the chlorine now.
No,
That's it.
That's all?
That's it, well, lifeguards, they take care of
Well,
lifeguards.
if we do these
But they don't
four,
take care of the
we'll
maintenance.
have one,
No,
at least one more.
Should they be?
that's been, ask the mayor here, that's been a discussion for how many years?
What's that?
The maintenance of the
I
pool.
don't know why the
in
town doesn't
Yeah,
check after the maintenance.
I have it downstairs. We're gonna, let's do this. When we, soon as this budget's all over with, late March, we're gonna have a meeting. And I wish I could do this all in one night, but we're not gonna be able to because literally, there's folders for each project that we have, that's on the drawing board, more than on the drawing board. A lot of it we have grant money. But one of them is obviously the 140 for Roe Park for different things. So we're going to have to zero in on that at one meeting,
On what
a work, like, a special meeting, just talk like this, and let's include the pool. It's been a, I don't want to say contentious, but,
Yeah, it has.
is that the word I want to
Yeah,
use?
that's it. Use that
With
word.
rec,
Use that.
not specifically about the pool, but the proliferation of the sheds.
Oh, no.
The painting of the sheds and the not painting of 2 of the sheds.
I didn't want to go there.
Yeah.
No, you're right, no, that's gonna be part of the meeting, but part is gonna be the pool, you know, they pay for the lifeguards, they pay for the chemicals, but let's see what's going on there. You know, and have a nice meeting with the town if there's something we see that should be a joint effort.
And we should get an update
It's a
from
community pool.
DASNY
Right,
about the
exactly. It's
grant
community
and
pool,
when
pay for
it's
it.
coming through.
Because right now, because of how cold it's been this winter, and it's been cold, and there's a lot of ice, that ice is gonna cause a lot of damage in the pool too, and you know that. So I don't know what it's gonna look like when it thaws out.
There's no cover on the pool?
No, the cover ripped years ago.
Okay,
So when we have this pool redone and everything with the grant money that eventually comes in, maybe we should look into a cover also, if we can fit that into that budget, because that probably help.
But the cover's not gonna prevent the ice.
No, but
You
would
can
it-
still get ice in there, but.
Yeah, but would a cover help, you would think, wouldn't it? I mean, everybody else covers the pool for a reason.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean.
Maybe we should look into it.
We have the same surface down in Marina, but our pool's about probably 15 times the size of that.
Okay. And you.
Do you put bumpers in it for expansion and
No,
contraction?
we just drain it out, you guys probably use a pressure washer too, don't you?
Yeah.
Pressure wash it all out, and then we put acid, I don't know if you guys use acid on this, you do?
Yep.
They do the same thing.
Okay. Hence, maybe you don't need the cover, that would be an expense.
Yes,
We could use
this
it
thing's
resource.
expensive,
Yeah.
very expensive. Anyway,
Other than the fact that the numbers are going to go up in the requested, I don't know if there's gonna be any room in estimated revenues to cover it. But we can look at those a little bit closer. The final water billing doesn't happen until May, so we don't know really where that's going to be for this fiscal year that we're in. When I look back at what it was last May plus the November billing for this year, we're in the ballpark. The amount of revenue coming in from the town, for the water being sold to the town, has gone up each billing period somewhat. So I'm just afraid that by adding in the numbers that I see that I have to add, 25,000 under equipment, about 2,000 under contractual, and under the contractual and equipment in transmission and distribution, we're picking up 10, about another 22. So we're adding a significant amount in the budget to go with what's on the proposed. There's not much we can do under benefits. Obviously, bond payments are dictated by schedule. Those we have to stick to. There is a request to put 10,000 into the truck reserve, and I believe with putting the 10 in plus the money that's already in reserve for current, plus the 10 for the current year, plus this 10, there'll be enough to possibly come up to replace the truck completely. And what I've been told, that the current truck will never pass inspection. Am
Yeah,
I correct in that?
frame's rotten.
Right, so I'm telling you, probably sometime after the budget is passed, we will have to look at taking all the money from the reserve fund, plus the 10 that's in this budget, and we should be able to come right close to a new pickup truck with a plow. We don't know what those numbers will be, but I think 55,000 is probably darn close to what the truck will cost with a
What do you
plow.
normally get your trucks at?
What do we do, what?
What do you normally purchase the trucks at?
State bid.
State bid?
Well, that's the normal route to go.
Yeah,
You can go out to a local dealer and get bids on them, but my knowledge is always state bids have always been the best over the years, so.
I think they've been getting them at Robert Green the last few months at the garage.
Yeah. It all depends who has the state contract for that particular vehicle. I think most police cars come out of Warnock in Jersey, you know, because they've had the bid on that for years. Who has the small pickup trucks? Could be Robert Green, there could be a series of dealers that all have it in the state. And bigger trucks, there's probably only one or two that statewide that bid.
what do you need, Jack? What would you think you need?
It's pretty much the same we have now,
Plow to?
yeah.
Well, plow helps
Oh,
in the winter,
Absolutely.
and plowing the lot up there.
Mhm.
Flat
Absolutely.
bog metal.
So,
You know, I remember when I became very popular with people, when I suggested the new truck went down to DPW, so was there another truck that they could give you? And Gary wouldn't do that.
Well, it's funny you said that just now. I just wrote
Remember
this.
that battle?
Yeah, I just wrote this, and this is something for us to check.
Not to deny you a truck,
No.
I'm not saying that, but Gary just had a fit about it.
We'll talk about that. We'll
I
talk
wanted
about
to
that.
get you a truck before we did, and then we said, just switch the truck, you got a brand new one, let those guys have a better truck.
I have a suggestion, we'll talk about it.
So you remember that one too?
Vividly.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Jack, let me ask you something. If I had, I'm not putting you on the spot. If you had to tell me one thing in the distribution part of the water, what would it be that needs to be done? Yeah, your opinion.
Besides the hydrants,
Yeah, besides the hydrants.
I'm not really sure.
All right, well then look, and then I want to know what would be the one thing within the plant? Because you have two sections of the plant. You have the distribution, and before that you have the in-house. So look at that quickly and tell me if any of that makes. Those are big jobs.
Yeah, they are.
They're not.
It'd be nice having meters leaving the plant, you know, from down by the tanks, so you can tell how much water's going out.
what's coming through the plant into the tanks for distribution.
Yeah, coming out of the tanks, we really have no way of telling. But I think the,
What up to the project that they're gonna do a pipe from the plant to the sewer? We're gonna bid on that in spring, right?
Oh, you're talking about the in-house bathroom pipe?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
You know, and I was up there, and they're inside of that bathroom, needs to be redone too, just so everybody knows.
Pipe from where, the water plant to the?
It's sad.
It's not
A
great.
pipe,
No, it's
no,
not
wait a
great.
minute. A pipe from the
It'd be
bathroom
nice if we could get in there and
to the nearest sewer line.
do a
Oh,
little
okay,
work on
okay,
that.
okay.
My opinion.
Yeah.
I didn't see.
What do you got there, Jack?
Pipeline.
well, the backwash pumps, I think they're original from when the plant was built.
Okay.
Even though, and the dry chemical feeder, they're both 30 years old, but, I mean, we only use one now.
Okay, the reason I'm asking, so everyone knows, and this will be a board decision, but the application for the Community Development Block Grant 2020 needs to be put in the end of this month. Normally, what we've been doing is a sidewalk over at Lady Cliff, a sidewalk on West Point Highway. We did get a large amount when we put in for the Senior Citizen Center. But they look favorably on these kind of purchases, projects. And also, we can relate it in our application that we supply water to Fort Montgomery, which is always a good thing to say you do. So, Jack, you're saying the backwash and the chemical feed are, and then you're over here, you're saying if you had one of your druthers, you'd, I don't know what you said.
Meters.
Oh, the meters, see, what is the difference, if we had a meter on the downside of the tank, like you're saying, it would read 500,000 gallons. Wouldn't we know that same number, a variation but close, of what's leaving the plant? Isn't that the same?
Somewhat, but I think that doing it that way, you can keep track of it a little better.
Well, it depends, if your tanks are full when you start and they're full at the end, then they would be the same reading, I would say. Unless there's a leak someplace between going from the meter at the plant to the meter coming out of the tanks.
I want the board to know that this definitely will come back up. We need to replace water lines, and you know this, and on Deer Park.
Yep.
For that area, but that area feeds down to the bottom of Craxton where the sewer plant is. And so that thought, it brings me to fire protection. Okay. And that's major, we gotta look for grants.
Well, keep in mind that a number of years ago, the board at that time did pass bond resolutions
Yes.
for that and
3 mil. It's
Something else.
Saddle Grove.
Satellite, yeah.
So there's a bond, there's actually a bond in place. There's actually bonding in place.
yeah, the resolution was passed, cleared all the stopples and what have you, and we could go out tomorrow and
Yeah.
borrow whatever dollars it was, $1 million, $2 million, whatever it was, I don't remember.
I want to try to get as much grant money as I can, which I'll start to work on, because, you know, the size of our community, I think we have a lot of good, Charlie knows a lot about this, I think we have a lot to put in reasons why, look at us, the size of our community, we provide water to share water, which, how many people do that? Fire protection, and a host of other things. So there are good reasons to put in for a grant.
There's 2 changes to that schedule, I'll tell you before you leave.
In Satterley Grove too, I think when they were looking at that project, it wasn't just for one particular item. No, it was for water, sewer, and drainage, because if you're gonna rip the roads up,
Yeah, do it
you might as
all
well
at
do it
once.
all.
Right.
You know,
I
right?
believe the resolution that I saw reads, it's just for water. But I might be wrong.
Okay, we should look at
We
that.
talked about what you were saying.
But
The problem then with drainage
It
is
was,
the whole Sally
right?
Grove
Yeah,
development
yeah.
sits
it
on
had
the
to
lake.
be probably 4 or 5 years ago that the resolution was passed, so.
Do you think that was in the resolution, all 3 of those
I
elements?
thought it
For
was,
real.
Yeah, so let's take a look at it, Ralph, because I think they addressed that.
yeah.
Because there's no sense in, you know, ripping up the road
Maybe
and
putting
and
it
then,
back and then ripping it
and
up.
then having to
ripping it
come
up.
back because we know the infrastructure down there is quite old.
Speaking of meters, help me out. South Post, is that what this is over here? at
Yeah.
Westmont?
Yeah.
Is there a meter issue? Were we ever gonna put it?
As of this evening, I can say there is no intention on the part of the academy to put in a master meter.
Okay.
And yet, to piggyback on that, Charlie, I think knows this, we do have an email from the Garrison Commander's office that says they will do it.
Did we talk about this?
Now, people can
Yeah, that's why I brought it up.
backpedal if they want, but
There was a hard and fast, drop dead, we'll have it in by April 2016. That never happened. I won't rehash past, but I do believe that from the academy standpoint, they don't want to pay sewage treatment on water that is leaking out of their pipes before it gets into the building. So from their standpoint, they get a more accurate reading from the individual buildings. Now that said, not too terribly long ago, I made the suggestion that we create an additional category for fees or rents that we could call campus rate and apply it to South Coast and the school. And up those fees a little bit to try to offset some of the inconveniences, like $40,000.
As far as the school district,
I hear
believe
you.
that has meters, the water that's going up to the school, we know what that is, I believe that.
Yeah, but there's
sewer
a
bill
different, she brings it up for a different issue.
But the problem over here, and this doesn't just mean this year, it goes back probably 10, 12, 15 years ago. The readings that they've been getting here to calculate how much water, some of them don't make any sense.
Or they repeat.
They change the meter and you don't know what the numbers are. And my philosophy a number of years back when we had this problem, I said, bill it whatever it is. If they complain, then, and they never complained. They always paid whatever the bill was. And it was always, I think, a decent bill that they were getting, so.
If we do have that concern, I think we're justified in calculating, at least for the new visitor
Right.
center, 1,600 flushes a day,
Wow.
based on what the AOG
Yeah.
has published.
But, see, if there was a master meter coming into the whole complex over there, you could get that reading and then take all the individual, and it should come out fairly close.
Right.
And that's where I think there's a big problem.
But if it didn't, Ralph, right, and if I,
They apparently know they've got a lot of leaks.
well, no, that's fine, so I guess what I'm trying to get at is, put in a master one, right? And no, if they put in a master one, and they have all of the buildings metered too, and they're worried about the leaks, the master one will tell them exactly what that difference is.
And then they
And
can
then they
fix it.
could give that to us and say, look, all of the master meter says this, these are what the other ones are. And then go from there.
Okay.
When the village replaced all of the
That'll
village
happen.
meters,
They didn't want.
there was
Let
a
me-
proposal that we
let me
would
talk
put
about
a
this
master
with you.
meter up in a pit,
I
and
don't do that.
it didn't go anyplace at that time, as I
Okay.
remember, so.
All right, what else we have with water?
No, nothing.
No?
Other than the fact, I'm gonna go back in, now that I have something more concrete, I'm not gonna change the requested. I'm gonna fill in the tentative. It's not gonna be the final tentative, I will print just those 2 sheets for water. Well, I'll print the revenue side too, so that Monday night, you'll have a little bit closer picture on water. It looks like it's gonna go up probably $20,000 to $30,000 over what I have right now. One area that we can cut back a little bit would be on contingency. I just looked, we've basically not spent anything so far this year out of contingency line. We don't spend it out of that, we transfer it out of that. So there could be a cutting from the 62 down to maybe 42,000. So we might be able
That's a
to
good
cover,
suggestion. That's a good suggestion.
things.
All right.
But other than that, and I know it's not water, but Joe has given me something that says where we should go with the sales tax. We haven't gotten the 4th payment yet of sales
Yeah,
tax,
okay, right now.
which comes
Thank
in May. That payment, in order to meet our budget, current budget, is $252,000. We did get that extra little bonus sales tax of 80-something a month or so ago. The other is what everybody's reading in the paper about, the AIM aid has been cut out, which is about $40,000 for the village. It's not in the governor's budget as of today, I don't believe. But, well, you're gonna get extra sales tax because of this, because of that, or whatever it might be. I don't believe all of this that they say. I feel comfortable with the 1.18 that I've got in the budget. Will I increase it to 1.2? I don't think I'll go up to quite 1.232, as the county is saying they're projecting. But if the board says, we're gonna go with this number, fine, I'll go with it, but I don't think we're gonna get that much sales tax.
Well, I think it should be raised, and as I said before, history tells me, accurate history tells me, and I don't know how they do it, it always amazes me, what they, well, wait a minute, what they project is what we did receive. I'm just saying. It doesn't mean they're always gonna be right, I'm not suggesting
But
that.
I
If
believe that,
if the economy sinks, we're in trouble, in more ways than one, but in sales tax, I understand that, there's all kinds of variations that can happen.
and as far as
But they have a good formula.
the figures that you got from Anna, I believe it's 4 quarters, but I don't think it's.
I agree with you, I agree with you.
So, but that's what I'm gonna do with this
All right.
budget. I'm gonna revise it, put it in the tentative column. It's not the final tentative, it's just so that you have numbers to look at.
I think the board would like you, and I'm saying this, if anybody objects, say it now, increase the county's projecting 1,232,000. Let's put 1.2.
That's only adding 20,000 to what I have, so.
Okay, but,
And, just so, on that budget, line number 5,
This one?
yep. Down to number 5, it says 4,500, should be 45,000.
Okay.
And go down to line 7, that should be not 7,000, but 10,500, which brings down at the total of 99,000, it brings it to 143,915. So, just so that you have the same numbers that we're working with.
okay,
Thanks, Al.
so let's close this budget workshop. Gina,
Motion out.
can we, I'm sorry,
Motion out.
motion out,
I make motion.
and Charlie,
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you so much. Thank you.